Well, we started our week-long celebration of college football last half hour with the Western Michigan Broncos.
Yes, we talked to their head coach, and it's now time to check in with Detroit's team. We're talking about the Wayne State Warriors, who play their games at Tom Adams Field right here in Midtown Detroit. And joining us now, a very familiar face and first-year head coach Tyrone Wheatley. It's good to see you, Tyrone.
Great to see you guys. How are you?
Fantastic.
Congrats on the new position.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm excited. Very excited.
I got to tell you, always one of my favorite athletes growing up, and I personally believe you started. You know how athletes take those smaller numbers now, like 5, 6, 7 for running back? I swear Tyrone Wheatley started that. One of the first when he wore that number 6. I always just think you started that whole craze. How do you like this team as you obviously bring a ton of football knowledge, playing at U of M, playing here in the Metro Detroit area, and then, of course, playing in the NFL?
I love this team. Great character guys. I mean, you have to start with the character of the young men first, because in order to implement your plan and your philosophy, they have to be willing to accept it. And their hearts are very humble, and their minds are open. So I like this team as a character. You know, they're very tough. They're strong young men. Coach Winters did an incredible job of leaving the cupboards full for me. But you know, right now, the biggest thing is just trying to get the details down to it and putting the final parts and pieces together before we go to Slippery Rock.
All right, so that's going to be your first game. Let's talk about what you are coming into the past couple of years with only a combined 3 games that you've won in the last 2 seasons for the Warriors. Does this really drive what you're doing? Like, we don't want to go back there with how successful you want this team to be this year?
But yeah, I mean, the past does, have some indicators, but one of the biggest things is, of course, the old saying in football goes, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmies and Joes. We want to put a fence around Metro Detroit. We want to keep the best players here, and for several reasons, right? They're Metro Detroit players. We want them in Tom Adams Field. We want the families at Tom Adams Field. We want that place rocking, right? And the best way to do that is to keep the players home. But what a lot of people don't realize is, the NFL is right now. I think Detroit has the most players in the NFL that has ever had in recent years.
That's right.
And
wow.
that's because of the talent that's here, and we have to keep this talent, and we have to keep the talent here. And the only way you're going to increase that number of total wins is keeping talent here.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Because, I mean, how do you sell a kid who's more talented maybe than Wayne State, but wants to stay at home? And I know we've seen Deion Sanders had some success with this when he was at Jackson State, but and you can point to guys like Joyke Bell, who went to Wayne State, made it to the NFL, and obviously they can look right at the head coach and see all the experience you have. But when you give that sales pitch, how do you keep those kids in Detroit?
Well, a lot of it is really, the young men, they want the inspiration of going to the NFL. A lot of them want the D1 dreams. But right now, a lot of people are playing NFL football, going from, Division I, Division II, and Division III. And the next thing of it is development. They just want to be developed. And if you can show that you can develop them and get them from one point to the next point, because see, what a high school young man wants is he wants to go to college. Mm-hmm. College guy wants to go to the pro, and the pro guy, he just wants to get to his next. He just want to get to, I'm sorry about that. He just want to get to his next, his contract. So if you could develop these young men and show them the progression of how they can get to that next point in their life, the next phase in their life, and in terms of football, they'll come. The next thing of it is in which Wayne State is getting better at. Being able to now just go into the world of the promotion of Wayne State and getting kids on there and having the university back us, and then, kind of shamelessly plug, but we need donors. We need people to get back us. And so once you get all those things going, and once they start understanding and seeing that, you'll keep them.
Yeah.
Well, certainly having a head coach like you, with a legacy like you do, with the local connection of being back home here in the city where you grew up. I know you went to Dearborn Robichaud, but you spent a lot of time, I'm sure, in Detroit. That has to have a huge impact on the recruiting and also just the excitement of being able to cheer on the Warriors this year.
Yes, it's weird. In my mind, I'm still 18. But which is, like I said, which is weird because a lot of my people I grew up with, played against, and even some of the coaches that I coached against when I was at Robichaud, coaching at Robichaud. Now I'm looking at their children and their grandchildren as the head coach, right? So
Yeah.
That's kind of weird for me, and it's a weird place, but it's a great place because once again, anything in life is about relationships.
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing is about relationship, but then the next thing of it is communication, right? So being able to have the access of communicating and touch and being in touch with people, that helps out a whole lot.
Yeah, and we certainly wish you the best this opening game and this upcoming season. Tyrone Wheatley, the man, the myth, the legend, right there. We appreciate your time this morning.
Come on now, stop it.
Good luck this season. Thanks for joining us.